Now, those words behind you, Matt, might be answering this next question, but Elon Musk and Anthony Albanese have engaged in a war of words this morning. So who are you backing in that stoush?
Well, I back the Australian people to be able to say what they want and not have a government trying to police their own speech, because what the Prime Minister is trying to do here is to use a violent stabbing, a terrible incident in Western Sydney, to say somehow he now needs a government power to tell you what you can say. Because the order out there at the moment from the E-Safety Commissioner in regards to X only relates to the video itself, yet the Prime Minister continues to conflate these issues and say somehow that Twitter is not, or X is not policing speech, divisive speech he refers to quite often, that the speech and comments on the misinformation he calls on Twitter is what's leading to the division in our society. That's got nothing to do with a particular dispute in the courts at the moment between X and the E-Safety Commissioner. Now, yes, I don't want to see graphic violence on social media, but there's a lot of questions here. I mean, one, I'd like to know what the bishop thinks, what's the church thinks. Do they want this video taken down? Nobody seems to have stopped to ask them. There's also cases of much more violent videos available on news websites, on mainstream media websites, including, for example, the death and shooting of Kyle Walker in Yuendumu a couple of years ago. That remains online. It's more violent than that one. Why is one video taken down by another?
Police.
I don't quite understand.
To take the defence of media organisations, we didn't show it, by the way. We when it comes to this latest attack, we paused the actual stabbing. You can see that in full online. And we've got a regulator eyeing us off where that doesn't seem to be applying to the social media giants.
Well, keep in mind, I do think here in this case, it's individual people posting these issues and posting these videos. And there's I do have my own concerns about your ACMA regulations and their limitations on speech, but you have a broadcast licence. I mean, are we going to enter a world where Australian individuals effectively need a licence to speak their mind? That's to me.
I think, but isn't the point here, and I think you touched on this in your first answer. I mean, you can say what you want, but it's just the vision that's the problem, because it is whipping up all forms of hatred as well.
Well, this is where that's the second point I'm worried about, Peter. I mean, yes, if we've got a standard on graphic violence, okay, enforce that standard, but there's much more graphic videos available on social media, as I say, on mainstream media websites, which are not taken down. So the issue here is that this video, apparently, the problem with this video is it's causing social division. Now, who gets to decide what division is good and what division is bad? Because, as I say, the video of Mr. Walker being killed in Yuendumu a few years ago did lead to substantial division. It led to riots and protests in Indigenous communities in Northern Territory, yet there was no attempt to take that video down. And let me be very clear, I'm not saying it should be taken down. I think that's in the public interest for people to see. But likewise here, yes, this video has caused a serious amount of angst, but it involves, of course, the violence perpetuated by a radical Islamic person, and somehow that division needs to be bad and needs to be taken down. Who gets to decide this? And I certainly don't want and don't think politicians should be put in the position of having to police that speech when people like Mr. Albanese are the biggest peddlers of misinformation in this country. I mean, where's our $275? Where's our Royal Commission into COVID? I mean, why do the politicians get off scot-free for telling lies constantly? Yet apparently it's only individual Australians who post things on social media that get policed.
Yeah, but again, I mean, that's different division. You're right. There has been misinformation and disinformation from politicians, certainly, but they're not showing vision of violent crimes.
Yeah. Well, as I say, if you want to say violent crime should not be allowed on social media, okay, enforce that. I mean, there's constantly videos of people stealing cars, breaking into properties on social media in my community here. And those people, not only do those videos stay online, those people then don't get arrested and put in jail. They get let out. Yeah. They get let out. They're on video and posting it themselves. And then they go back out on the streets. I mean, I think the Australian people would much prefer the Prime Minister and the state leaders to get serious about that, because that affects our real lives. And this particular issue that caused division there, it was only a few hours on one night, and there's no way. In what world would somehow some new free speech police cop be able to stop that particular reaction that night at the church. Because it's not as if lynchings and mob violence only started when social media started. I mean, give me a break. It's sort of human conduct sometimes to respond to incidents like this. It's happened forever. And there's no way a cop on the beat's going to stop that. But what they could do is clamp down on these criminals who are posting their own crimes on social media. Why aren't the police and the governments focused on that rather than trying to shut us own up, gag their own people?
That's a good point. Good point on the young criminals, for sure. Matt, we're out of time. Appreciate it, though. We'll talk to you soon.